Well, hello. I recorded this entire talkie part of this video over there at my regular set, and you know what? Camera was not in focus. So I was a blur. And, I put stuff away, so I just thought, I'm just going to record this right here. So, anyway, we'll go with this low quality intro, but don't worry, the pen part is totally high quality because they filmed it a different night. So I'm going to talk tonight about Centropen. So I'm looking over here because I'm going to grab one of them. I received this pen from Proto Pens recently. This is a lady pen, and it's kind of the featured star of tonight, but you'll see some other Centropens. I want to show you the amazing, amazing celluloid finish that's on some of these vintage Centropens. And if you don't know, Centropen is a vintage pen manufacturer. Well, they're still around. They just don't make pens like this anymore. But it's a pen manufacturer from Czechoslovakia. And I was inspired by this video because I watched... Kind of amazed I watched the whole thing, but it just kind of enthralled me. I watched a video by Penultimate Dave about the Celluloid from Omas. He had 2 different finishes. Well, Centropen had 4. And so I just thought immediately of my Centropens while I watched this video. No, this isn't vintage Celluloid. It's a different kind of deal, but very pretty. And you're going to see one of the pens kind of go, and we'll talk about it after we watch them write. Alright, so these are my Centropens. These are my sparkly things. I almost put Czechoslovakia in the title because that's where they were made, but Czechoslovakia is a country that is no more. I have gotten criticized for that, although Czechoslovakia was a thing back when these pens were made, so people don't realize they're vintage, I guess. So, I succeeded in something recently that I've wanted to succeed in. I have all the finishes that Centropen made of this type, finally. This pen here was the last one to show up. So, let's just take a look. So, not all of these are inked up, so I'm taking inspiration from Penultimate Dave. You will see some writing, just not with all of them. This first one is a ballpoint. It's has that beautiful blue finish. Great chatoyancy. Open it up, and like I said, it's a ballpoint. If I try to write with it... Ooh, I got a cartridge here from somewhere. Ooh, I didn't expect any writing at all from it. But a very elderly ballpoint. So I figured, okay, it's got to be easy to replace. I can't figure it out. I can't open this, so I don't know how to get into it. Do I need to use more muscle? I'm always scared to with these vintage pens. And, honestly, it's a ballpoint, so is it very likely that I'm going to want to use it anyway? But a little disappointing that I can't get into it. Okay, beside it is the pencil that came with it, and I will just note that these were given to me by a viewer. I'm not sure how anonymous he wants to be, so I won't say any names. But, this just sits on top. And the lead really doesn't advance. I'm pretty sure it's easy to fix. Now that I've just spilled lead all over, let's just try to fix it real quick. Okay, this was not supposed to be this big of a mess, but apparently it is. So we'll take that out. And one thing worth noting is that vintage pencil leads tend to be a bit thicker than the modern incarnations. I find it interesting that I can actually have multiple leads in the back here. Some of my vintage pencils only allow 1 lead at a time. So let's just see, once I get all these in, is it going to be a... what a mess. Is this going to be a it feeds itself, or is it going to be a you need to feed it type of deal? Alright, I would say that the lead feeder just doesn't work. I tried it in both directions and it just won't advance. So much for that. And then, of course, the star of this show is the Centropen 10016. There, you can see it. This is a fountain pen. Again, given to me by a viewer. The nib on it is not bad. You know, it's nothing amazing, but it's not a bad nib. And, you know, it's, of course, putting up with some quite serious competition. And it has that very typical of Eastern European manufacture, this sort of a filler. Some of them unscrew. This one does not. I guess the later versions were glued in. And of course I put links to all the videos of these pens down below. This is so that's the blue finish. This is the brown finish. This is a Centropen 10014. And of course the clip is, catterwampus. The trim rings got a little weirdified. And the nib, again, it's nothing amazing. It's not a bad nib. It's just not an amazing nib. It was gold plated, but the gold plating has come off. And again, that same filling mechanism. I guess what I really enjoy with these pens is just how deep this finish is. It is stunning. You go to the side, it disappears. You've got layers in it. It's just amazing. You know, it may not be the Celluloid like Penultimate Dave was showing, but wow, it is beautiful. Then I have a pen and pencil set. This pencil is a Centropen. Again, same brown finish, but I don't know, it seems a little classier, a little better quality. And check this out. Yeah, the lead actually advances correctly. Although this one I can't put more than one in it at a time, but still. Oops, just dragged a whole bunch of stuff out with my little piece of paper here. Oops. Too much lead. I wonder how, see, the lead wants to go back in when it's like this. But when I stick it out just a little further, it behaves itself. Yeah, it deserves fresh paper. There we go. So I'm not a mechanical pencil guy, but that seems to work. If I'm going to write with a pencil, I'm more of a number 2 pencil guy, but you know, not bad for what it is. And then one of my inked up pens is this, which may be empty now. Nope, there's still a little in it. Centropen 100820. This actually is the pen that sent me down that Central European path. Very beautiful finish. Just an absolutely stunning finish. And deep. One thing I had to do recently was it the, I think it was on the cap. I ended up having to screw this finial back in. It took me by surprise. I do see that the finial isn't perfectly centered, but yeah, it just kind of came unscrewed and I was like, what? Let's see if it's even writing anymore. What really makes this pen stand out, I mean, obviously gorgeous finish, but this nib is absolutely amazing. It feels more like a paintbrush than a nib. And I don't remember what ink is in this pen anymore. My next pen is, I called it a Centropen Lady. Apparently it was the model made for ladies. You know, it's a pocket pen type deal, and because apparently only ladies like pocket pens. I don't know. But it has this beautiful red finish. I mean, especially here, that's like fire. This thing is flippin' gorgeous. And, you know, kind of like the Centropen 100820 on this end, this finial's a little plainer. Of course, it's a blind cap. Open it up. There's this beautiful, again, ISCO, beautiful gold nib. Now, I don't have ink in this pen, but I almost feel like I need to ink it up. But the next pen is going to get the ink, so we'll just be patient here. But I love, love, love this red finish. And finally, this is what I've been waiting for. There's a green finish. Olive, I guess you could call it. But I've been wanting this olive finish, and it came. I'm happy. So this olive finish, this one, unlike the rest, it's like they made an effort to line up the chatoyancy. You know, the others on the different parts, the chatoyancy doesn't line up, but this one it really does. And again, so deep. Finish like the 100820 on both ends. Again, it's a blind cap. And we'll open it up. And again, oh, unlike the rest, it does not have a Centropen nib. That is a Bach nib. So I'm extremely excited to see this one because I know that I love those vintage Bach nibs. So I'm very excited to see how this one writes. Since this is a first impression, kind of. I mean, I know the pen, so I'm not classifying this as a first impression. This is a more of a whatevs, dude, type of video. But I'm going to use my Parker Quink washable blue. Scratched my beautiful desk doing a video that I didn't end up publishing, but damn it. I'm not hearing a whole lot of bubbling. Okay, heard some bubbling that time. So, of course, this is a Proto-Pens find. You can tell because it's in such good shape, because Proto-Pens does an amazing job fixing their fountain pens up. One of the reasons I can't buy from them as much as I would like to, just too expensive because you have to pay for that. Of course, this is Parker Quink. Definitely has a sweet spot. This one, if I get off at all, it turns kind of scratchy. So, kind of enjoying it. Definitely has some feedback. I won't say it's as good as some of the other vintage Bach nibs I've used. Wetness and flow. Yeah, definitely has some feedback. The smear test. So that's writing pretty light. Uh-oh. Well, that's not a happy sign. Give it a second. Okay, now we're writing again. Huh. Okay, not a good sign at all. If that's going to be a thing, I'm not going to like this pen. Where did I say I bought this thing from? Reverse writing. And I haven't even gotten to the Pier gut. That was not bad. That was actually pretty smooth. Just, kind of an extra fine. I haven't even gotten to the Pier Gustafson test, which is usually kind of a yeep test for these pens. And, pens are designed for writing, not for art, but Pier Gustafson is more of an artist, and so rapid movement and rapid ink flow is important to him. Not so important to me, but I wasn't doing anything crazy here, a little bit of flexing, and just like, what? So, I am curious what happens with this test here. Yeah. I kind of thought that would happen. So, the fact that it failed in the midst, and I'm holding this up to the light so I can see ink between the tines. The fact that it failed in the regular writing is a bad sign to me. So I expected this, and yeah. So time will tell on this pen. I may do some cleaning on it and stuff. With my Uber pens, I usually don't. Well, often when I order a vintage pen, I do clean it. My Uber pens, Proto Pens now does a good job with their pens, so I don't usually feel the need. The need may be there this time. All right, so just for giggles and snorts, let's ink up the other lady. I don't really want to do Parker Quink washable blue again. So let's ink her up with some ancient copper. By the time I film Pens in Use this weekend, we may see crusting on the nib. That is one of the problems with this ink. We'll find out. Alright, so as far as the nib goes, it is not one of those Bach nibs. This is an ISCO nib. Gold, but ISCO. So we'll just write here. Oops, I didn't totally wipe the section off because I just inked myself. Okay, so far it feels a lot the same. I see myself writing with it differently. I don't know. It feels a little different, to hold, although the writing's the same. That one pretty well. Wetness and flow. Can I just say what gorgeous shading this is? I like it. And the smear test. Oh yeah. And reverse writing. God awful. Sorry, you may not have seen that, but ew. And finally, the world famous Pier Gustafson test. Okay, there was a little railroading there, but I think it did decently with that. Definitely better than the one with the Bach nib. So, the Czechoslovakian nib outperformed the West German nib. How about that? And since it still has ink in it, although I don't remember what color it is, let's just do this this pen real quick. Of course, this nib has a lot of flex to it. Maybe not in the same way as, say, a vintage Waterman's 52 or something, but definitely flex. This is a pretty color, whatever it is. I'll have to look it up. I don't remember what I last put in this pen. Smear test. This is a wet pen. Whoosh. Yeah, that's wet. And reverse writing. Kind of scratchy, but doable and kind of an extra fine. And finally, the world famous Pier Gustafson test, which is not a test I was doing back when I reviewed this pen. It could possibly be due for a revisit this year, but it'll kind of depend on a few things. I haven't done my revisits the way I should. I like the idea of 5 years for a revisit, but typically it's been 4 years, so maybe it's time to get to the 5-year thing. But anyway, Pier Gustafson test. Yeah, and I expected this pen to do well with that test, so kudos. This is an absolutely amazing pen. So, those are my Centropens. What do you think? So you got to see 3 pens right. I've written with all of them. I've got links to the videos down below. The one pen that hasn't appeared before is this olive. I called it green in the video, but olive-colored lady pen. And I was a bit disappointed tonight, or last night I guess it was, and so I did a few things with it. I haven't solved the problem. It is still, I wrote on the back side of a friend's pen pal letter. I got 2 lines the first time. I did some adjustments. I got 3 lines. More work is needed. So first thing, my philosophy is first, do no harm. So if you don't have to take the pen apart, don't. I'm not quite to the point of taking the pen apart, but getting closer. So what I did that I could do, sometimes these pens just write better if they sit for overnight. Some pens just take a while to saturate the feed or whatever it is they have to do. Yeah, that didn't help. So next thing, I thought, okay, I'll drip out 2 or 3 drops of ink, because some pens, that's what you need to do. And Nope, that didn't help. So right now, tonight, I'm to the point of I'm going to flush it and properly clean it with, some pen cleaner solution. Haven't done that yet, but I will. After that, we get more aggressive where we're trying like ultrasonic cleaners where we try taking the pen apart. We check out the feed. Is the feed aligned with the nib? Do we need to floss the nibs with some brass shims, to make the nib work? The nib looks okay, except, right at the point it seems too close together, which, could be a problem. You want your tines and your nib, I don't know if this is in focus or not, so bear with me. But you want your tines to be parallel and close, but not smushed together. You don't want them going whoop or You want them parallel and enough gap between them to work. So that's where the brass shims come in. So we'll see. I'm looking in a little despair at the pen because I absolutely adore these vintage Bach nibs. And boy, did this one let me down. It doesn't even feel that wonderful writing normally. So, it could be one of those deals where the tines are aligned like whoop or something, So I've got my work cut out for me with this pen. And, happily, I'm in my last full week of school. I've got a holiday break coming up, so there's going to be a lot of vintage pens repaired over this holiday break. I'm very excited about the time coming up, but this will be one of them. So you may see this olive pen in a future video, but anyway, other than that, you got to see some absolutely gorgeous finishes. I don't know if they're more gorgeous than the Celluloid that Penultimate Dave was showing, but they're gorgeous. So, and yeah, you got to see two of the pens write well. In fact, all those pens write well, in their way. Some of them are kind of low-cost steel nibs, but still, they all write well except for the latest entry, which doesn't have a Centropen nib. So, anyway, I want to thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.